Very good afternoon to everyone. So, welcome to session 2 of Labor Legislation series. So, yesterday we concluded our session by saying that all labor laws are categorized into different fields. One is laws related to IR, that is industrial relations. Second category is laws related to wages. Third is laws related to empowerment of women. Fourth, laws related to social security, and the fifth are other labor laws. So today we will discuss one very important law under the category of social security, and that is Employees State Insurance Act 1948. I have listed 7 important points which I want to share in today's video, and then you can ask your questions and I will love to answer that. The first point is where this law apply and where it does not apply. It applies to all the organizations with the aid of power or without the aid of power. Where there is without the aid of power, the minimum number required is 20 employees, and where there is with the aid of power, the minimum number required is 10. So that is the minimum condition which is put. And where it does not apply, that is important to know. It does not apply to seasonal factories. When I say seasonal factories, it means where the product which is being made, it is only in certain period of the year, like in the case of manufacturing of tea, coffee, rubber, sugar, etc. So for all these seasonal factories, this ESI Act does not apply. Second point. The second point I have mentioned on the board is benefits. What are the major benefits of this act? The major benefits of this act are 3. Sickness benefit. Whenever any employee falls sick, he can get the benefit under this act. Employment injury, he gets injured, partial disablement happens, he can get benefit under this act. Maternity for female employees, maternity benefit is there. So these are the 3 major benefits of this act. The third point, the coverage and contribution, again a very important point. Is it apply to all the employees of the organization? The answer is no. It applies to only those employees in the current scenario where the salary, gross salary, not the salary, because there is basic salary, there is gross salary. So very important to remember, where the gross salary is up to 21,000 limit. So up to this 21,000 salary, all the employees are covered under the ESI Act. And now the coverage and the contribution. So both employee and employer makes a contribution towards this ESI. What is that contribution amount? For the employee, the contribution is 0.75% of the gross salary, and employer contributes 3.25% of the gross salary. So in total it is 3.25 plus 0.754% of the gross salary. So for example, if somebody drawing gross salary of 10,000, so 4% of that will go to ESI corporation. That is one corporation who is supervising the entire gamut of ESI. So every month, for every eligible employee who will get the benefit under this act, so he will also contribute and the employer will also contribute towards this ESI Act. Now the fourth point which I have mentioned here is the protection. There is additional protection given under this act, that while the employee is getting the benefit, like any benefit under this act, no employer can initiate any kind of disciplinary action against that employee. So that is a protection given under this act. And the fifth point which I want to discuss, and that is also a very very important point. The fifth point is there are cases when an employer has hired a lot of contractors. You must be knowing what is a contractor. For example, in construction industry, there is the organization who employs different contractors for different kind of works. They give a certain kind of civil works to some contractor, and they give a certain other electrical works to some other contractor. So the contractors are employing their manpower. So if the ESI is applicable to the organization, it is applicable to the employees of the contractors also. And for the employees of the contractor, who is called the principal employer? That is a very important question to answer. Principal employer has got the major responsibility and the major obligation to give all the benefits. So if there is any case which goes to labor court, the obligation is on the principal employer. So even if the employees of the contractor, the principal employer is the organization who has hired that contractor. And then who is that contractor? The contractor is the immediate employer. So that is a very important point, that the onus always remains on the principal employer. He can never shy away from his responsibility that these employees are not my employees and they are employees of some contractor. That is a very important point. So as the next point which I mentioned on my board is ESI Corporation, which I just told you that who is supervising the entire ESI management. So here one very important point. How these benefits are given? These benefits are given in the form of making dispensaries near in the area where the organizations are there, so that employee can go there and get all the benefits. So these dispensaries are in all the different areas and in all the different districts. But sometimes the industry in such an area where such dispensary or such facilities are not able to be given by the ESI Corporation. In that case, for those organizations, ESI will not be applicable. Though the ESI Corporation is always trying to cover the entire area, but sometimes it happens that it takes time. So till that time, the ESI is not able to give that facility in that area will not be covered under ESI Act. So now the last point for the today's video, that is the contribution period. It is also a very important point. See, there are two contribution periods. One is starting from April for 6 months. April, May, June, July, August, September. This is one contribution period. And the second is from the next 6 months, October to March. And corresponding to each contribution period, there is a benefit period. For example, in the first contribution period from April to September, the benefit period starts after 3 months. So after 3 months means after the end of the contribution period, September में आपका contribution period खत्म हुआ, and the benefit period will start from January. So January to June would be the benefit period. So it means if employee wants to get the benefit, first he has to contribute for 6 months, 3 months more. So 9 months contribution will go before he can get the benefit for 6 months from January to June. Similarly, for the next contribution period, that is starting from October to March, again after 3 months, April, May, June, July onward. July to December will be the benefit period. So employee can only get the benefit after he has given the contribution for 9 months. So friends, this is all about the generic introduction about the ESI Act. Hope you have got some clarity on the very important topic. I will really look forward for your questions on this act, because that will make this series more engaging, more productive. My only endeavor is to increase the knowledge and awareness on different important topics related to HR. So I will look forward for your questions and see you tomorrow with another topic. Take care, keep smiling. Thank you very much.